I just wish that I could have done more as a coach to.
And this right here is what is so extremely unfamiliar for not just this Alabama team, but the program, the fan base, and everybody involved. I think some Alabama fans, their immediate reaction would be to freak out about this. It's definitely strange as an Alabama fan to be in this situation, but maybe it's the new reality. I don't want to say that, and I don't even want to come to terms with it, but maybe I have to. How long has it been? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Okay, yeah, we are officially 4 days removed from the Alabama. I'm not going to label it as a heartbreaking loss because trust me, I've had some of those, the kick six and also the Tennessee game last year. Those were heartbreaking. This loss, though, it was tough. That's the word I'm going to use. I can't label it as heartbreaking because all throughout the game, I never felt like, number one, we were playing that good, and number two, we were outplaying Michigan. We heavily got outplayed. Don't get me wrong, we made a couple of great plays here and there, but for the vast majority of the game, Michigan owned us. Which, yet again, if we do have some Michigan fans watching this video, I'm going to clap it up to you guys because you earned it. You beat us straight up and down. And while we're talking about it, I want to give a huge, and I'm talking about a huge shout out to the entire Michigan fan base. That fan base has been nothing short of respectful and great. The way they've handled the Alabama win is almost the way Alabama handles wins. Very businesslike. Of course, they were happy about their team winning and they celebrated it, but they didn't rub it in. There was none of this, oh, ha, the dynasty was over. All I saw across social media and in my comment section and everywhere is Michigan congratulating Alabama on a great season, and you don't see that a lot. Most times when Alabama lose, the worst part about it is the other fan base not even celebrating their own win, but they're celebrating the fact that Alabama lost. I just thought it was really admirable for the Michigan fan base to act the way they did. So big ups to all the Michigan fans, and I greatly appreciate y'all. And we're going to talk about Michigan relatively soon because remember, they play in their big time game Monday, so stay tuned for that. Look out for that video on the channel. But getting back to Alabama here, and as great of a season that we had, and I'll be the first to tell you we overachieved, it is still a failure and it's still a disappointment. You guys know the standard. It's championship or bust. It's as plain and as simple as that. But more importantly, and this is going to be the main topic and focal point of this video, not just this Alabama team, but this Alabama program, the football program, is in weird and unfamiliar territory. Is the dynasty falling off? Has Nick Saban lost his edge a little bit? Is the rest of college football catching up to us? Are we not as dominant as we used to be? Those are all fair questions, and they're questions that we're going to talk about in today's video. We're also going to check out some of the comments that you guys left on the video right here. I'll pop it up on the screen where we talked about 10 Alabama players left the program within 24 hours. And you know what? We're not doing no intro, none of that. This is the one and only topic we're talking about, so let's just get into it. Let's take a look at this comment. I noticed it's got quite a few likes here. I remember when he made a video referring to me about the USC players that entered the portal, and Matt was saying it's a dumpster fire over there, and which it was and which it currently is. And the comment section was telling Matt that it was only a matter of time before it happened to Bama. Looks like they were right. And I know exactly what you're talking about, and to a certain degree, you are right. Whenever we was talking about Georgia losing all their players to the portal, and Ohio State and USC, all these teams, they were losing players to the portal, everybody was telling me, well, Matt, whenever Alabama loses, they're going to have about 15 guys in the portal as well, and which I agreed with. These guys leaving, 10 guys leaving in less than 24 hours hasn't shot me to a slice of bits because it's happened every single year. But I have to remind myself, although it doesn't shock me because I keep up with this stuff and I've been keeping up with it for years, to other people out here who just now started following the game, it may shock them. Take a look at this comment from Fallen Pros here. Really shows how butthurt players can be about losing. I think it shows that they think it wasn't their fault after a loss. I know that's probably not the situation, but it sure does seem like that. I get the point you're trying to make here, but yet again, I'm going to divert back to this because it's the same answer and it's the only explanation you need. This happens every single year at schools like Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State, and this is normal. Most of these guys that have left Alabama, and I'll pop up the list for you right here, they're leaving due to playing time. They're not leaving because Alabama has a culture problem or anything like that. No. It's just about playing. And a lot of people in the comment section, and I got to give credit to our community, they understood this and they realized this. I don't want you to get it twisted, though. It's still worth talking about whenever these schools like Georgia and Alabama have a ton of players leave in a short amount of time. I do want to share some of those comments. Now, getting that out the way, I want to talk about this team in the year they had. But more importantly, I want to show you what Nick Saban had to say about this team in the year they had.
Obviously, we're very disappointed about the outcome of the game. I don't think we played great in the first half, but I was really proud of the way our players played in the second half. We just didn't finish the last 4 minutes of the game.
I do want to add something to that because I know we're just focusing on the Alabama loss, but in the second half, same thing as Saban. I was extremely proud of how we responded to the adversity, how we responded to not playing so good in the first half, and We had a chance at the end of the game to win it, to close out on defense, and we couldn't do it.
Like we'd like to, and we're all very disappointed, and the players are disappointed as well. But one thing that I told them in the locker room after the game, this is one of the most amazing seasons in Alabama football history in terms of where this team came from, what they were able to accomplish, and what they were able to do.
Last pause, and I'm about to go fully into detail on that in just a second. And I told you guys this after the Auburn game. I said it all year long. As an Alabama fan, this has been one of the most fun years I've ever had watching Alabama football, and it's also been one of the most special years. It's been a roller coaster, and it's been a really fun one at that, and I'm going to continue to go back to this. This 2023 team reminds me of the 2015 team.
Winning the SEC championship, and really, really proud of this group. And, I just wish that I could have done more as a coach to, help them be successful and help them finish. And all we can do now is learn from the lessons that sometimes failings bring to us.
Makes me sad even thinking about it, but wise words from Nick Saban. And that's not just advice for college football, but that's advice for your everyday life. You want to try to learn from your failures. And when I sat back and thought about it, of course, us Alabama fans, we're not too happy that we lost the first game in the playoff. We're not. It doesn't matter how fortunate and lucky we were to get to the point. The point is, we were there. We had a chance to win another national championship, and we failed to do it. And y'all saw my live reaction to the game where I've been speechless for 10 minutes straight. The next day, I've gone on rants and tangents. I've gone through every emotion as an Alabama fan in these past couple of days. But when you look back on the entire season, all in all, for what it was unreal and it was amazing. We overachieved. To think that only a few months ago, we had a double-digit home loss to Texas, and we barely beat South Florida, and we was having quarterback issues in week 3, and then we made it to the playoff. It's hard to fathom. It really is. And I remember that South Florida game, the emotion I was feeling. And if you were to tell me, if a time traveler came back in time during that South Florida game and said, yo, Matt, don't worry about it, bro. You're going to make the playoff. I don't know what I would have said. I'm not going to say I wouldn't believe it, but I'd have a hard time believing it. And I'm going to pull it up for you guys here just to get you some exact scores and numbers. But the way we responded to that Texas loss in week 3, the struggling win over South Florida, it was great. After the South Florida game and a lot of question marks, we beat a very good Ole Miss team by 14 points. I don't know when the final rankings come out, but when it's all said and done, Ole Miss is going to finish inside, the top 9 or 8? After that, we destroyed a Mississippi State team, which, by the way, they weren't awful. That same Mississippi State team beat Arizona. Following that, we go on the road, and Milroe has arguably the game of his life against A&M, and we win that one. We struggled with Arkansas that one. Yeah, not very good. I'll just leave it at that. Not good at all. Then we proceed to get revenge against Tennessee and win by 14 points, and the game was never in doubt. The following week, we get revenge yet again on LSU and win by similar 14 points. Following that, we destroy Kentucky in a trap game, beat Chattanooga. Of course, it's Chattanooga. Then we beat Auburn on the miraculous play. Not going to talk about that because we've spent plenty of time talking about that. And then we beat the number 1 team in the country, and a team in which I stated after the SEC championship game was a top 4 team in the country still in Georgia. I'm not here to get into a playoff ranking conversation. You can go look at the previous videos. You can go look at my tweets where I released my own rankings. After the SEC championship, I still had Georgia in the top 4. Just looking back on all the moments we had this year, and I'm reminiscing and thinking about where I was when I was watching all these games, it was legendary, man. It really was. It'll be a very long time before I forget this team, and more importantly, this season. And at the end of the day, I can sleep peacefully at night because, and it's not easy for me to say this, but this Alabama team was not a championship team. Championship teams don't have snapping problems in the college football playoff, and more importantly, championship teams don't allow 5 sacks per game with a dual threat quarterback. Our offensive line was not very good this year. Our rushing attack was one of the worst under Nick Saban's, and even our entire offense wasn't very good when you look at the numbers. I thought the offense was okay. It kind of got watered down because we played 2 top defenses in Georgia and Michigan, but it wasn't great. The only aspect of this team that I thought was championship material was the defense. They were great. And what's weird about that statement is what wound up costing us a trip to the championship was our defense couldn't get a stop in the last 4 minutes of the game against Michigan. But I don't want people to hold that against our defense and have recency bias. They were still great, and they're the reason we got to where we were. We held a top 10 offense in Georgia to 24 points. That was good. And oh yeah, we held the Heisman Trophy winner to 28 points, and we had a prolific Tennessee offense to 20. And can't forget to mention Ole Miss, high-powered offense, 10 points. And people that aren't fans of Alabama won't get this, but it's so weird because in the same sentence I can say, yeah, we overachieved and this was a great season, but also it was a disappointment. How can you put those three words in the same sentence? Great, overachieved, and disappointed. I don't know, but that's how it is for Alabama. Before we end off this video, I want you to take a look at this. And this right here is what is so extremely unfamiliar for not just this Alabama team, but the program, the fan base, and everybody involved. Is this concerning? I don't know. You let me know your thoughts on this down below. I think some Alabama fans, their immediate reaction would be to freak out about this. So Nick Saban took over the job, as you can see, in 2007 here. Well, ever since Saban has taken over the job, the longest drought Alabama has had for winning a national championship was 2 years. In 2012, we went 13-1, won the championship, and in 13 and 14, we didn't win a championship, but we won it in 15. Didn't win it in 16, but came back, won it in 17. 2018, 2019, didn't win it, but came back in 2020 and won it. And to keep that streak alive of having 2 years without a championship, we had to win it this year, and we didn't. Didn't win it in 2021, didn't win it last year. Obviously, we didn't even make the playoff, and this year came up short. So now it's been officially 3 years since we've won a championship, and that is the longest drought of Nick Saban's career at Alabama. And if you don't know what's championship or bust for Alabama, take a look at this graphic you see right here. This is why. When you are winning a championship pretty much every other year, yeah, it becomes a standard by default. And here's the thing about it. It's not like in 2021, 22, and 23, Alabama had bad teams. No, that's not the case. They just came up short. But with Nick Saban in his later stages of his career and the dynasty somewhat on the fall-off trajectory, I don't know, it's definitely an interesting debate and conversation. And I've been saying this ever since 2022 and 2021. The days of Alabama dominating college football are over. These championships you see right here, Alabama just dominated every team that year. But we've seen it in these past 3 years. Yeah, Alabama's went 12-2, 11-2, and 13-2, but in about 7 or 8 games per year, they've been close. It's definitely strange as an Alabama fan to be in this situation, but maybe it's the new reality. I don't want to say that, and I don't even want to come to terms with it, but maybe I have to. Maybe instead of winning one championship every 3 years, we're going to have to settle for winning one championship every 4 years. That might be the new standard moving forward, because doing what Saban did from 2009 up until 2020, you may never see someone do it again. As far as it goes for the state of this program, and you know I'm not going to lie to you guys, I don't sugarcoat a single thing, I feel pretty good. We got our starting quarterback coming back next year. Defense should be A-okay. I don't see them downgrading too much. Yeah, we lose Kool-Aid McKinstry, Terrion Arnold, a couple guys here and there, but for the most part, we're still going to have a good defense. The offense has got to fix some things here and there, but remember, we got a brand new offensive coordinator. Hopefully, we get a better center that can snap the ball, and there's a couple other things we'll talk about later down the road. As a Bama fan myself, I'm feeling good, and let me know in the comment section, Bama fans, how are you feeling moving forward? Another offseason without a championship, though, it's definitely a hard pill to swallow. Let me know your thoughts down below. But